and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on!
Let's go. It's the Pregame Show. Joe Spadoni, baby. It's a Thursday. The official start of Week 13 in the NFL. And we got a doozy on Sunday. And we got, well, a game with implications in the NFC tonight. That being the Seattle Seahawks heading over to Jerry's World, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And this is a massive week. Not only for standings and, you know, who's going to go to the Super Bowl. Is this a preview of the NFC Championship, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship? This is a big game for Brock Purdy. Is he going to vault himself into the MVP conversation, the legitimate MVP conversation? Because he's still getting slept on. And you could say, oh, Spadoni, that doesn't matter. I just want to win a damn Super Bowl. I don't care about individual awards, stuff like that. That's fine. But for the national media, the national conversation, it's a thing. And I'm tired of this guy getting slept on. And I don't even have a dog in this fight. But you know what? Brock Purdy has been playing like the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm not going to say the entire year, but a good part of it. And I understand during that 3-game losing streak, he had some boneheaded decisions that cost his team the game. I get that. Cleveland didn't look great. But I see this guy playing tonight. Dak Prescott. He's on my screen right now. This guy is ahead of Brock Purdy in the MVP chase? That can't be. That just cannot be. Not when I saw Brock on national media go head-to-head against Dak. And I get it. Quarterbacks don't play each other per se. Obviously, it's offense, defense, but we like to boil it down to that. And on Sunday Night Football, 49ers Cowboys at Levi's Stadium, I saw Brock Purdy put on a show. And I saw Dak Prescott get exposed. Now, since that, a lot has happened. I understand. But the Cowboys haven't played anyone. Come on. Ugh. It's going to be insufferable tonight. At least we get a decent matchup, though. Because a lot of these games, the primetime ones, just, gross. What do we just have? We had the Vikings and we had the Bears. Ugh. We've had Panthers on Thursday Night Football recently. Black Friday was a snooze fest. Who watched that, honestly? Sam, did you watch any of that game? Don't even lie. You watched the first.
I saw the pick six.
You saw, yeah, the what they call the Fail Mary, the Hail Mary.
Yeah, Javon Holland take it 99 yards.
I call it the Hail Satan. I thought that was pretty funny instead of Hail Mary. But, you know, a little edgy. That's fine. So Sam was locked in on Black Friday, but it did horrible numbers. I think it got like the lowest watched Thursday Night Football.
Liberal use of locked in.
Yeah, okay. Semi-locked in. Fantasy purposes only. I get it. I haven't given out the number. What am I doing? We're 4 minutes into this thing. 888-957-9570. How big of a game is this Sunday for Brock Purdy out in Philadelphia? In the elements, as I pull up the Weather Channel here, 888-957-9570. You can also hit us up on Twitch and YouTube. We are streaming live and local Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. through 7 p.m. right here on 95.7 The Game, your home of Golden State Warriors basketball. And Steve Kerr talked to Willard and Dibbs yesterday, as he does each and every Wednesday. And he had some interesting things to say. We'll hear from Steve Kerr a little bit later on the show. Steve Weish, NFL Network, longtime NFL reporter, was on with Steiny and Guru yesterday, had some interesting comments, as well as Anthony Slater, our 95.7 The Game Warriors insider here, and obviously covers the team for The Athletic, joined the morning roast. So heavy hitters, excuse me. Ooh, got to get through that. Got the tea and honey, don't worry, we're good. Heavy hitters on the show yesterday, on all of them, and that's what we do here at 95.7 The Game. We're locked in. We get the best because we want to be the best, all right? And to be the best, you got to beat the best. Meaning, Brock Purdy, I think he has to prove it to a lot of people. Now, he doesn't have to prove it to me. But this is a massive stage for him this Sunday. Going toe-to-toe with the team that broken, beaten, and battered the 49ers this past NFC Championship. What was that now? 9 months ago? 10 months ago? This is huge for him. What say you? 888-957-9570. That's the number. And also be sure to download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game. Take us wherever you want to go, coast to coast, Miami, New York, Portland, Vegas, Wichita. I'm just going random. Des Moines, wherever you want to bring us. The Odyssey app will have you covered. And obviously YouTube. And we're global here on the pregame show. 888-957-9570. As I finally got my weather, and it's looking like a 70% chance of precipitation. That means it's going to rain, folks. Not a lot of wind. That helps, because it was nasty in that Buffalo game out in Philly this past week. And Jake Elliott, my God, he won Special Teams Player of the Week in the NFC. Clutch. One of the clutchest regular season kicks I've ever seen. And if it does come down to kicks, which it might, I do think the Eagles have the edge in that one. Not saying Jake Moody's been bad. He's actually been low-key pretty steady as of late. Hasn't really been talked about. So I'll give Jake Moody his flowers when he's actually kicking the ball and is going through the uprights. Good job, Jake Moody. He's doing his job. There you go. It's a thankless job being a kicker, because you make all these kicks during games of 40-yarders. You know, you always call them chip shots. Oh, you should be making them. You're not going to get a pat on the back. But you know what? It's hard. It's a head case job. It's like being a closer or reliever in Major League Baseball. All it takes is one bad at bat, and you're screwed. Get in your own dome, start walking guys, start hitting people, start shanking kicks. These things happen. We got a caller out in Philly. Let's go. Al, you're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. What's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Great, man.
This game on Sunday. Oh man.
You excited?
I mean,
you excited?
Yeah. I mean, you were saying Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy. Oh, for the MVP vote.
Yeah, I know. Vegas is saying it, Al, not me. I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it personally.
But I just thought, I don't understand. But you know what I do understand? That the Birds are going to beat it on Sunday.
It's all right. Is that it? Al, you gone? All right. That's fine. He was excited. Hey, you know what? I don't take it personally. I think he thought this was the morning roast, didn't he?
I told him that you're a Raider fan, and like if you talk smack, it's not going to land. But he's like, I don't care. But
it's fine.
It's Philly. I don't know what they're going to say next, and there's words you can't say on the radio. So
that's fine. No, it's, you know what? It's fine. I wanted to have a civil conversation about football, but that's
the wrong fan.
Some sports cities just can't do that. That's all right. Alan Philly, he's excited. You know what? I'm not dogging Al. He's calling in over here. He's doing his receivers bidding. What did A.J. Brown tweet? I give permission to troll 49er fans this week, right? That was A.J. Brown?
I think it was troll Debo, but, same
troll
thing.
Debo, but I think he meant all Niners. So, you know what? They're just doing their players' bidding. And that's fine. But if they lose on Sunday, not saying it's, going to cover up the NFC Championship game, but it'll feel pretty damn good for 49er fans. And I want to hear from Niner fans, 888-957-9570. How big of a game is this for Brock Purdy this Sunday? Is it a legacy game for Brock? Maybe not for you, but I do think there is something, there when it comes to getting past a mental hurdle and beating the team that knocked you out last year, knocked you out of the game. I mean, you came back, but your arm was a shell of itself. You had to shot put it. Later on, George Kittle was literally asking Purdy on the sideline, hey, can you throw left-handed? Like, that's how bad it was when Josh Johnson got knocked out. They just didn't have anything left. It was horrible. Horrible. But for Brock now, to be playing like he's playing, like that 3-game losing streak is in the rearview mirror. And that all went away after beating the Jaguars for me. How they came out of the bye week, how they looked out of the bye week, dominating Jacksonville, pretty much handling the Buccaneers, although it was closer throughout the game than it was with Jacksonville. But there was never doubt in that game, at least not for me. And then just dominating the Seahawks on Thanksgiving. Like, this team is locked, they're loaded, they're rested, they're hungry, they're healthy. That's the main key here for me, health. 49ers are healthy right now. And I understand no Hufanga for the rest of the year. That's tough. That's tough. My guy, my rookie out of Penn State, I haven't really heard his name, but I think that's a good thing, right? It's kind of like offensive linemen. We don't hear their names called. It's usually a good thing. Now, with the safety, you want to make a pick here and there, and he did. My guy Brown out of We Are Penn State. He had to pick his very first game in relief against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maker Bayfield. And yes, I said that on purpose. 888-957-9570, the number. How big of a game is this for Brock Purdy? How big of a game is it for Kyle Shanahan? If you lose this game to the Philadelphia Eagles and Nick Sirianni, when it feels like everything is set up for the Niners to win this game, and it wouldn't be an upset. The Niners are favored on the road in this game. They really are. Like, the 49ers are the favorites going into this. Eagles are banged up. They've been playing tight games. They've been playing difficult games. I mean, they just had to play the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Buffalo Bills. They had the Niners, and they got the Cowboys. Like, this is a brutal stretch for them. So everything is up against them right now. They got the elements to deal with as well. How's Jalen Hurts doing carrying this team? Lane Johnson, banged up. Fletcher Cox. Cox's groin. Now, you don't have to cut that. Relax. But here's Steve Weish, NFL Network, longtime NFL reporter. He's tapped into the league. Great dude. On with Steiny and Guru yesterday. I guess he was an NBA reporter way back. That's where Steiny knows him. They were tight. They were boys. Called him Stevie. Stevie and Steiny. Maybe a podcast another time. Here's Steve Weish talking about the 49ers and Eagles offenses and saying the 49ers are kind of like a dome team. This is interesting. Take a listen.
They are built in some ways like a dome team. Play with the lead, let your pass rushers get after the opposing quarterback. But we've seen them go toe-to-toe before as well. We've seen them win some close games. It's that 8-point deficit, where you've got to score and get a 2-point or a 2-possession game. Look, I mean, right now Philadelphia's got a clutch gene. They make plays when they have to make them. Their quarterback makes plays. Their offensive line is insane. And they've got that tush push, right? If they can get a situation where they can maul you, and that's what they tend to do in the second half, is they just maul teams down. Even if they're behind, they'll maul, they'll wear teams down, then hit some explosive plays. That's something that the Niners cannot do. As opposed to the Niners, not saying, again, they can't do that because we've seen them do that to other teams. It's just weird when you look at the stats and you just why they have not been able to overcome that. I don't think there's necessarily anything in the way that they've been built where they can't do that. They just haven't.
Kind of like a dome team, huh? Now, I get what he's saying, Steve Weish. And I think a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, oh, he thinks they're soft. No. I don't think that's what Steve's saying at all. He's just saying they can win games in certain types of ways. It doesn't have to be a quote-unquote front-running type of game where you get out to a big lead and then you let the dogs out, right? Shout the Baja men. But that's what they would prefer. And that's kind of what, the greatest show on turf, the Peyton Manning teams, the teams that played in domes that we think about when we think about high-powered offenses, the Saints with Drew Brees, right? Think about those sort of teams. The difference to me in this 49ers squad, I believe Brock Purdy can throw to get back into a game. I do. A lot of people say, you know what, they got to have a big lead. They got to lead on the running game. This cannot turn into a shootout. A lot of people keep telling me that. I think Brock has shown enough arm talent to say, you know what? If we're down in the fourth, I think he can throw us back. Now, is that a hot take? Let me know. Can the 49ers beat the Eagles on Brock Purdy's arm alone? Let's say McCaffrey gets bottled up in this game. Let's say it turns into a quote-unquote, passing type of an afternoon, if you will. You feeling confident in Brock Purdy? Getting you into that game, getting back, preserving a lead, what have you? Because I do. Nothing he has shown me up to this point, I don't doubt anything with Brock. Now, the one factor in this game that you obviously will be discussed, we have discussed it, I already mentioned, it's the weather. 70% chance of precipitation. Sensation. It's a buck, I get it. On Sunday in Philadelphia. That is a thing. Now, we just saw Jalen Hurts this past Sunday in horrible weather look pretty damn good. What's it going to look like for Brock Purdy? 888-957-9570. Good morning to all of you just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school. This is the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. Appreciate all of you chiming in on the Comcast Business Text line. I got Dylan, always locked in. Dylan, because I spit hot fire. Shout out to the Chappelle Show. 209 from Dylan. I feel the Eagles are more focused on the Cowboys game next week, not the 49ers this week. I wouldn't say they aren't focused. I think they are focused. I think Nick Sirianni's getting these guys fired up. I think he's using all the tricks in the book to get his team fired up. Not that he needs to do that. These guys we're just in a damn Super Bowl. Not that he needs to do that, but you know what? Hey, if I was Sirianni, I'm definitely being that. Hey, they're favored. You guys beat them in the NFC Championship. You were this close to winning a Super Bowl. You've just beaten the Kansas City Chiefs. You have just beaten the Buffalo Bills. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, who are considered the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You just beat both those guys. And they're the ones that are favored. The team that beat Geno Smith. The team that beat Baker Mayfield. The team that beat, Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. But you get what I'm saying. Those guys are favored. What have they done? Like, if I'm Nick Sirianni, that's what I'm leaning into. Not that he needs to. Doesn't hurt, though. So I do think there is some extra juice in this game. And not to mention all the trash talking, right? Debo Samuel, James Bradbury now taking, the high road after Debo called him trash and what have you. The back and forth. Nick Bosa was talking to the media yesterday. He's like, hey, I got respect. I think they're pissed off that they lost in the Super Bowl. We were pissed off that we lost in the NFC Championship game. And it's going to be a good game. We don't like level-headed responses, Nick Bosa. We need trash talk. That's not him, though. I think that's more of his brother Joey. Likes to do the trash talk. A lot more louder, as most older brothers are. The younger ones tend to be a little more quiet, a little more reserved. Unless they're the baby of the family, in which case, oh boy. It is funny, though, to juxtapose Nick and Joey. Very different. But also very similar with how scary they are on the field. Joey just can't stay healthy, though. It's tough. Chargers, man. They're cursed with injuries as well. We like to think the 49ers have it bad, and right now they actually don't. Outside of Hufanga, and that was horrible. But the Chargers, Brandon Staley. Days are numbered. Days are not numbered here on the pregame show, though. We're doing numbers. And shout out to YouTube. Shout out all of you subscribing. We're at 51,000. We can get to 55 by the end of this month. That's asking a lot. That's asking a lot. An awful lot. But you know what? I believe in you guys. Maybe a win over the Eagles this Sunday will just catapult us into that 55,000. And we'll get to 60, 65, 70. Let's get to 100K next year. Let's try to do that. Good morning. Golden State Lakota, sports fan Damon Chang, Jaime Valenzuela, Andy Lo-Fi, JC. JC on the YouTube chat. I feel like the Eagles are out to prove just as much as the Niners. They're trying to prove the NFC Championship wasn't a fluke. And I think they've done that, JC, to your point. They're 10-1. They're the best team in the NFL right now. It was not a fluke. They are the best team in the NFC. 49ers are trying to prove that they're the best team. Now, they have that 2-game lead now, so even if the Eagles lose this one, it's not over for them. But they do, to your point, have to go and face a Cowboys team in Dallas who will have also a mini bye. So this stretch for the Eagles is brutal, man. So you got Monday Night Football against Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead. Andy Reid coming off a bye where he's damn near unbeatable. You win that game. So you're on a short week at home in the pouring rain, wind going this way, going that way, right? And you're facing a desperate Buffalo Bills squad who's underachieved all year, but they fired their OC. They feel rejuvenated. They're trying to get after it. They have double-digit leads twice in this game. You somehow come back, force overtime with an amazing kick, win that game. Now, you're also kind of on short rest, too, because you're in overtime. You have tired legs. You got injuries galore. Oh, and now you got the red-hot San Francisco 49ers coming into town trying to get some revenge. Then, like I mentioned, you get the Cowboys coming off a mini bye as well. Just like the 49ers are coming in this week. That's brutal. So if the Eagles could somehow win this game, my God. It's one of the toughest stretches I remember in a long time in the NFL. JT is out in San Jose. He wants to chime in on the conversation. 888-957-9570. What's going on, JT?
Hey, good morning, my brother.
How you doing, man?
Well, I have a little fun fact here. Let's see what Hargrave and Kelty do. You know, these guys play against practice all the time, so I'm gonna see if that tush push actually gets any pushing. I think he knows how to counter that. I think Hargrave's gonna do the best on that against Kelty. You know, he knows this guy pretty well because he's been playing with him the last 4 or 5 years. So that's going to be an interesting matchup.
No, absolutely. How are you feeling about this matchup this Sunday, JT? You think the Niners are going to pull it off?
Not too excited. Not with the weather because the thing is we're a fast team. We're light on our asses though. The problem is that they're big, they're stout, and that's like they're saying in the fourth quarter they're going to keep pushing. They're going to keep pushing. They're going to start pushing us around. That's the problem.
Gotcha.
We're fast. You put us on turf. You know we're pretty balanced right now between our D ends and our tackle. That's the reason we're going to be having a lot more balance moving forward because when you start getting those quarterbacks on the run, they're not going to have those avenues to run in.
Totally.
So I'm pretty happy with the rotation for the most part, but I'm a Niner fan, but I know it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be hard to be able to throw the ball in that rain and to run the ball against that front four. That's a really tough situation to go through.
Absolutely.
You got to really come up with some. Yeah, it's more screen bubble passes. You're going to try to get yourself in space because the pressure's coming in. Somebody better block that guy.
That's JT in San Jose. Thanks for chiming in. 888-957-9570. Nothing I hate more than the bubble screen throw to a wide receiver that gets you 2 yards or loses you a yard. I swear to God, I watch it every week. Whatever team I'm watching, whatever TV, they do it a couple times, and maybe it's only the Niners that have the personnel that it works, but it gets blown up constantly. I cannot stand throwing it out to the wide receiver, a quick out, bubble screen, block. Someone misses a block constantly, or the corner snuffs it out immediately. Cannot stand those play calls. Not getting upset at JT. I'm just, as a NFL fan, can't stand them. I'm sure they work. I'm sure there's, they bust one if you're Tyreek Hill or Deebo Samuel. Great. Outside of that, God, it feels like everyone fails with it. The tush push. Unstoppable. That's what Brian Baldinger said to the Morning Roast this past Tuesday. It's unstoppable. So JT there from San Jose referencing, Javon Hargrave having an inside know on how to stop it. And I don't know about that. I think this is just a personnel thing where they're so damn dominant at it if it's going to fail, it's going to be on the offensive end, not because of something the defense did. It's going to be a false start. It's going to be, someone slips, a snap infraction, what have you. Something like that. With how good and dominant that offensive line is, and Kelsey specifically, one of the greatest centers in the history of the NFL, and how strong Jalen Hurts is, I just don't see you stopping it. And Nick Bosa, again, was talking to the media yesterday. He was saying, yeah, I don't think it should be illegal. No one's getting hurt by it. It should be legal. But he's excited for the challenge on how to stop it. And that's what you want. I don't want the complaining from all the NFL writers. Oh, this isn't football. They're pushing this is rugby. Shut up. It's a fun play. It's got a cool nickname, and try to stop it. Because you know what? If the Niners stop it, that makes it that much more interesting of a matchup. The unstoppable force meets the immovable object, right? Like, that would be awesome. That's a storyline. 49ers win in Philly, but also deny the tush push. Actually, screw winning in Philly, just denying the tush push. The brotherly FU, right? That wasn't very creative, but you get what I'm saying. Go up against it. More of your calls, more of your texts. We're going to hear from Steve Kerr. We got some Warriors to talk about. Things are not going well in Golden State Warriors land. That's okay. Not time to panic yet, but we got some injury news with Gary Payton II, with Chris Paul. We'll share that on the other side, as well as more of your phone calls, more of your texts, more of your comments on YouTube and Twitch, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. This is the pregame show with Joe Spadoni. Don't go anywhere. Niners, Eagles, this Sunday. Let's go. 95.7 The Game.
Now, back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Wow. Gutsy win for the Lakers yesterday. Over the Detroit Pistons. Whew. Championship level performance out there in Detroit. Oh, poor Pistons fans.
Especially when you got to go against a guy like James Wiseman, too.
Oh, did he even play yesterday? Oh, I don't even think. Oh, James. Why I brought that up, pre-gamers and people just waking up? It's just on my TV screen. Squirrel. He did play. 4 points and 5 boards in 12 minutes for James. 2 of 2 from the field. Let's go. We'll get back to the Niners here. But regular season right now for James Wiseman. 11 minutes. He's averaging 5 points, 3 boards. Okay.
Absolutely incredible.
Thanks, Draymond. Oh, man. Poor James. Guy's loaded, though. Right? You got money. You're good. You're set for life. Now, you might be a bust, but you know what? I'd rather be a bust with a lot of money. It's usually what happens. Anthony Bennett, baby. Speaking of not a bust, in the inverse of that, Brock Purdy, who was not drafted number 2 overall. He's drafted with the last pick. Mr. Irrelevant, some call him. It's kind of a little tongue-in-cheek at this point because the guy's an MVP candidate. He's a baller. He's going up against a Philadelphia team that's battered and bruised. I've already listed off the challenges that Philadelphia had to face these last few weeks. Chiefs coming off a bye. Short week at home against the Bills, who were desperate. Bad weather. Wind swirling. Overtime win. Now, you face a 49ers team, also coming off a mini bye, who played on Thanksgiving, who are rested, healthy, and playing the best football in the NFL currently. So it's stacked up against them, and that's why Vegas has the Niners winning this game. I feel pretty confident the Niners are going to win this game too, but there is something about the Eagles pulling games out. There is. I don't know. It's a mark of a good team. Sometimes it just comes out to that. You can't quantify it. But the Eagles are just a good team. Hell, not even good. They're great. Great teams find a way to win at the end of the day, especially against elite talent like a Mahomes and like an Allen. Like Jalen Hurts, I don't think is also getting enough credit that he deserves. He's been a baller. And now he is the favorite in the clubhouse to win the MVP, by the way, Jalen Hurts. So maybe I should backtrack a little bit. He is getting some credit in Vegas, right? But that was the case last year for Jalen too. And who ended up winning the MVP? Patrick Mahomes. So this is a massive game for not only NFC, standings wise and that, but also the MVP race. It's a huge game. And I know quarterbacks don't play each other, but that's what it's going to be built up as. It's Purdy v. Hurts. Two guys who, honestly, been slept on a little bit in their careers. Now, Jalen, obviously, being more in the spotlight. Oklahoma, Alabama, getting benched for Tua. He handled that tremendously, by the way. Second round pick. Not a lot of people thought highly of him. Took over for Carson Wentz. Never looked back. What was that game? His first start. I feel like I remember it. Yeah, we don't do memory radio here at 5:37 a.m. when my memory's not that great to begin with. But I feel like it was not a Sunday night game, but it was a primetime performance, and Jalen tried to keep bringing his team back. Was it against the Bucks? It'll come to me. Text line, help me out, 888-957-9570. But his very first game, I remember like, oh, Eagles got something with Jalen Hurts. They got something. And then we saw that with Brock Purdy last year when he came in relief against the Dolphins, where it's like, oh, wow, okay. But can he do it again? All right, that's what it always turns into. Could Purdy do it? Could Jalen do it again? And they have. Here's Kyle Shanahan talking to the media yesterday, head coach of the 49ers, talking about, the rain potentially in Philly. And again, as of this morning, precipitation at a 70% likelihood this Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field out in Philadelphia. Shanny, you guys prepping for that?
A wet ball makes it harder on everybody. I think Brock, I've had some guys who really struggle in the rain. I've been through some situations with Brock, not just the game, but practice. But I think he's as good as any quarterback I've had in rain. He's dealt with it a lot at Iowa State. And I don't think there's much practicing in rain doesn't get less slippery. So we'll just try to have an efficient one today and deal with Sunday.
How we feel about Brock in the rain? He's always confident in his guy. He has to. He has to gas him up. He's got to be a little bit concerned, though, with that Cleveland game and that defense getting after him and the ball slipping out of his hand, especially when he rolls to his right and he's trying to, pump fake, or try to scramble. And it just slips out. Will he wear gloves? Will he not? Will he wear one glove, two gloves? Glove of love? Michael Jackson? We'll see. And here's more from Shanny talking about the play that everyone keeps talking about. I brought it up. JT in San Jose brought it up. The tush push. How do you feel about it, Kyle?
We're going to do 10 live reps of it today. See if we have anybody left after it. No, you don't practice it.
Prepare to deal with that. It's such a big part of there.
You coach it up, tell them where we want guys and stuff, and not going to spend a lot of time on it, but we're going to talk about it, show it, and do as good as we can.
That sounded pretty defeated, I'm not going to lie, where it's like, what do you want me to do? Right? Sure. We'll try. We'll talk about it, but I'm not focusing I would rather, we force the Eagles to a 4th and 5, 4th and 3, right? 4th and long situations, so we don't put ourselves in that one. It's basically what Kyle Shanahan is reiterating to his defense. Let's make sure we're putting them behind the sticks, not closer to it. All right? Also, Kyle Shanahan needs to work on a sarcasm game. Listen to this real quick.
We're going to do 10 live reps of it today. See if we have anybody left after it. No, you don't practice it.
Prepare to deal with that.
That wasn't a very good sarcastic voice, Kyle. I thought he was being serious. Now maybe I need to see his face. Did he have a smirk on it or something? I don't think the Shanahans do sarcasm very well. Just going to throw that out there. Judging from his dad, kind of a no-nonsense guy. The lobster, as Bob Spadoni used to call him. He used to get red as hell over on those Denver Broncos sidelines. A lot of Raider games we watched with those two. Kyle, a lot like his dad that way. Red ass. Perhaps the most important question, Kyle Shanahan. How the hell do you stop Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, you want to try to keep him out of those situations first and foremost. I know it's possible to stop, but I think it's pretty proven that it's extremely hard. So you try to keep him out of those situations, and they do such a good job of balancing everything out with the dropbacks, the play actions, the RPOs, the quarterback run game, the regular run game. So it's really impossible to stay ahead of them in terms of who has the chalk last. And they got a lot of answers in their run game and stuff, which could put him in some pretty good situations. So you got to be able to weather the storm when they get you. Let it be a first down and not a touchdown. Play very disciplined, very sound, and when you get your opportunity to make plays, you can't miss them.
Can't wait for this game. This Sunday, Week 13 showdown. Philadelphia, San Francisco, at Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to be gross. It's going to be quote-unquote football weather. But if you were listening to the show yesterday, I think that's a load of crap. Give me a dome. Give me a dome with these two teams playing instead. Right? I want to see these two teams at their best. Not in the elements. Whack. You can say, Spadoni, you're soft. You don't like football. No. I like football. When it's an equal playing field and I can see both teams at their best. The hell are we still doing with snow games and hail? Come on. What are we doing? SoFi Stadium, beautiful. Allegiant Stadium, beautiful. Minnesota US Bank Stadium, beautiful. Superdome, come on. Dome it up, baby. Please don't cut that. 888-957-9570. Steve Kerr from one head coach to another, and Kyle Shanahan to Steve Kerr, who joined Willard and Dibbs yesterday, as he does each and every week, had some very interesting things to say in regards to his rotation, in regards to the team blowing it against the Sacramento Kings, getting bounced from the in-season tournament, and a terrible decision that he is owning up to. And a lot of fans were calling him out for it yesterday. I'll explain on the other side, plus injury news with Gary Payton II, Chris Paul, all of that right here on 95.7 The Game. Don't go anywhere. One more segment, the pregame show, baby.
Switch to Verizon and you'll save.
95.7 The Game.
I love Thursdays. I do. It's fun. Got the weekend coming up. Garbage day for me, too. I feel like there's quite literally, just weight off my shoulders. 2 kids and a bunch of problems. Those things get filled up quick. And I swear to God, these garbage cans, real quick, because it's garbage day for me, they've been getting smaller and smaller. Well, Spadoni is trying to incentivize, separating your compost, your cans and your bottles. I do that anyways. But I got dirty diapers. I can't put that in the recycling or the compost. All right? God, she's only 1, but can we get the potty training? Oh, jeez. Jesus. Anyways, welcome into the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Hope all of you are doing well out there. If it's garbage day for you, happy garbage day. We've been talking 49ers, Eagles for most of this show, and rightfully so. It's the biggest game of the week. It is potentially going to be the biggest game of the year. We shall see. We got week 13 starting tonight in Dallas, where 2 NFC playoff teams from last season will be squaring off. And both of them would the Eagles be, or would the Seahawks be in the playoffs right now if it started? I think. NFC standings, division standings, conference. All right. Yes. So, Seahawks at Cowboys tonight with a lot of implications. Now, the Cowboys should handle the Seahawks, the Cowboys are 9-point favorites? Yeah. I wouldn't really bet on this game, though, because Cowboys, Thursday night games, I don't like touching them. Low scoring, can the Seahawks hang around? I don't know. We'll see. The Niners handled them pretty easily, but division games are also weird Thursday. A lot of variables in that one. I say all that to say, week 13 is here, and I'm excited. Not as excited to talk about, what's going on with the Warriors, because they've just been bad. Just, what is going on? And Steve Kerr, head coach of the team, joined Willard and Dibbs yesterday, and there's an awful lot of sound. I'm not going to be able to get to all of it, but tremendous interview. You can find the entire thing on YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game, like, subscribe. We are streaming Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. through 7 p.m. right here on 95.7 The Game, your home of the Golden State Warriors. You can also download the Odyssey app and find the interview that way. Favorite 95.7 The Game and thousands of other stations. But here's Steve Kerr, talking about the decision heard around the world. And now we're not talking about LeBron James and South Beach. We're talking about the decision to not ride the hot hand with Moses Moody and put Klay Thompson on the bench. Steve, why did you do that?
Should have left Moses in the game. Moses hits 3 threes and he's rolling. And, we decided, we kind of overthought it. We wanted to get our best defensive group on the floor. But Moses was really good defensively. And watching the tape over again, it's like that was really a terrible decision. And I should have left him out there at least for a couple more minutes. And I regret that one.
He regrets it. It was a terrible decision. You know what? Golf clap. Thank you for admitting it. No, honestly. Head coaches are so damn afraid to admit mistakes. I think it was E-Dog Evan Giddings, our producer extraordinaire for Stein and Goon, fill-in host galore here at 95.7 The Game. Love E-Dog. I was the one that coined the nickname, by the way, for those of you who need to know. But he was like, you think Kyle Shanahan ever says anything like Steve Kerr just said yesterday? Admitting that? No, I don't think so. But Steve Kerr has built so much equity and has so many championship rings where he can just be honest and be like, you know what? Looking back, bad decision. And that is refreshing because the amount of head coaches in the NFL in the NBA, wherever, that just refuse to admit they made a mistake because they're, quote, smarter than you in the media, drives me nuts. So I appreciate Steve Kerr coming out and saying, you know what, looking back, it was a bad decision. Now here's Kerr also having regret over the fourth quarter challenge that, Draymond wanted to challenge that. Obviously, wasn't the best.
I regret the challenge. I did feel like at the time of the challenge, if we won, the game would have been over. I think Steph makes 3 free throws. It's an 8-point game. We win. And our guys who look at it felt strongly enough about it that we might get it overturned. But it was my last timeout.
Yeah, too close. The thing with the NBA challenges, they're looking at so many different angles that you might not be privy to on the sideline, where it's just like, unless it's blatantly bad, you're better off just keeping the timeout in your back pocket because it comes up. You see it every single game. 2-possession game, 1 possession, final minute, and they don't have a timeout, and it costs them. Then you got to do the foul game, and then you're relying on missed free throws, and you don't want to live that way. But Curry did the kick. He did the little kick out, and that's going to be called. It is what it is. More from Steve talking about, having the whole team healthy in the first half and looking great, and then all of it just falling apart.
What was interesting about last night's game is we finally had everybody healthy. In that first half, that looked like our team. It's like we got our starters playing well. The 5-man group that's been so good for the last couple of years, they come out and they look great. Then we're coming off the bench with, CP and Dario and Gary. I mean, we got, I'm watching that first half. I'm like, all right, here's our team now. And then when, we get the injuries and it's like, all right, here we go again.
It's unfortunate that might be the best look you got at the Golden State Warriors all year, that first half against the Kings. Because now you got serious injuries with Gary Payton II. Here's, a torn calf. Supposed to be being reported now. Timeline still unknown. They just said indefinitely. So that's obviously a massive blow because Gary Payton had been balling. He's been playing the best basketball of his career. Guy's blocking Victor Wembanyama, for Christ's sake. He's 6'3". Then you got Chris Paul, which is a little less serious, thankfully. He's day-to-day with a nerve injury, they're calling it. So that's great. Hopefully it doesn't linger too long. Shout the cranberries. Do you have to let it linger? But that's something to monitor just with Chris Paul all season. He's old. These things are going to happen. But the Gary Payton II one specifically, just, feel gutted for Gary. He's had a lot of injuries the last few seasons. Obviously, the abdomen, going back with his time with the Warriors, getting the surgery, not going well, the Blazers, all that, getting back here, fractured relationship when they did the trade, all that. So he's been through a lot. And now he's going to go through some more. And hopefully he can come back at some point this season. We'll see. The severity of the injury, we do not know. Just indefinitely is what's being reported. So tough news on the injury front for the Golden State Warriors. All right. That damn technical foul on Draymond, Steve. After serving a 5-game suspension, after saying, I'm not going to change, I just got to be smarter sometimes. And then he gets the technical foul. Steve, your thoughts?
Disappointing because, Draymond drives a lot of our results. I've told people over the years we don't have a single championship without Draymond, and I fully believe that. Our teams have been so skilled, but Draymond is a guy who gives us the defensive force, the emotion, the edge, kind of that, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. There's just a different mentality with our team with Draymond, and he takes us over the top. So he's a very powerful figure. And he knows that. And he and I have talked about that. But he has to harness that power. And I was disappointed last night that got the tech, the reaction, the foul afterwards, because the momentum really swung in Sacramento's favor after that. So he's got to be better, and he knows that.
It's got to be better. How many times have we asked that for Draymond Green about not getting texts? He is who he is. He's not going to change. All right? Fact of the matter. It is funny, though. Kerr did sound like just every parent when you make a mistake or you lied, you got a bad, grade on your test. I'm not mad. Just disappointed,
Disappointing because
disappointing,
Draymond,
right? Thanks, Steve. We're up against it. It's not disappointing, and it's been on fire this week. The morning roast. Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky, they're coming up next. Niners, Eagles this Sunday. I'm sure they'll have some thoughts on what Steve Kerr had to say yesterday. You're going to hear from Shanahan, Nick Bosa, all that. They have all those cuts. Play off of that as well. Massive, massive game this Sunday in Philadelphia. They're going to break it all down right here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco.